I want to talk about isolating and empaths. I saw a meme recently that said something along the lines of it's hard to be an empath because you simultaneously love people but you also don't know how to be with them. So let's talk about isolation because we have some ideas that isolation is a negative thing. That if we are isolating, that means that we are antisocial, we're not showing up to the world, yada, yada, yada. And somebody I was recently working with said that if he's not showing up, then he feels like it's wrong or bad, like he's doing something bad. And that sense of isolation that we feel and we go, oh, I'm paralyzed and I'm isolated and I don't know how to be in this world that I feel like an alien to. We have to renegotiate what this part of ourselves means and is. Because what is true is that if you are somebody who is isolating, there's a fine line, and I want to be careful with my words, because there is a fine line between isolating because you're depressed and isolating because you know that the way that you're going to connect is by isolating. So if I am kind of an isolated person, and I have a close circle of friends that come into my world. I don't go out into the world a lot, and I'm okay with that. And that sense for me of shame, of isolation, that fear of the depression hole of like, oh my God, I'm isolating and I'm never going to be able to come out. I've really transformed and negotiated that and dissolved that patterning in myself that says that it's wrong or bad, because what is true is that the world out there is the illusion, right? And this world that we say I'm isolating into is not a means of disconnecting. And a lot of times what we do is, I'm talking to somebody recently and I said, I'm embarrassed to even come out to you because I don't want to kind of unload on you, or I'm just like not 100% in a giver space because I'm overworked and overwhelmed. So I feel a little bit embarrassed. So I want to hide myself because I want to hide other people from the part of myself that isn't totally showing up in like, hey, I'm here to serve you and help you and love you. And then I feel bad and feel like a piece of shit and feel like there's no purpose to my life because I'm isolating. I get it, right? But it is not unevolved to isolate. Buddha, Jesus, how do you think they got to where they got? There's 40 days and 40 nights. There's isolation. They're sitting under a tree doing nothing. And what happened? People came to them going, how do you have that ability to be with yourself? I want that ability to be with myself and not be lonely. And that's what isolation provides us. In the times that we are out in the world, and we don't give ourselves enough credit for the amount of times we're out in the world doing things that feel like our nervous system is super jacked up, when we are coming back into ourselves and we go, I'm isolating, I feel disconnected. No, it's not necessarily true that the empath feels disconnected when they're isolating. What's true is that we're trying to connect, and we're afraid that when other people see us that way, they're going to want to disconnect from us because we're not perfect and we don't have anything to give them and we're not showing up the way that they would have us show up. And then we withdraw and we don't allow people to see all of our negative parts. We don't allow people into our wholeness. And the work of somebody who is in isolation is one, acceptance. Okay, here I am. I'm not isolating because I want to disconnect. I'm isolating because I deeply want to connect. And this is my way of connecting to myself. And then we go, okay, well, I want other people in my life. I want them to come in. But we go, I can't invite them in because they're going to see me and they're not going to love me if I am like this, right? We have to be willing to allow people into all of our inner territory, all of our parts, even the parts that are isolating, because it's not true that we feel disconnected when we're isolating. It's true that we're connecting, and it's true that if somebody loves us, and it's true that we have to give these people the opportunity to love us by inviting them into our world. When we go, dude, all I have for you is a couch. I don't got no words. I want to lay on the couch. I don't want to say a thing. I got nothing for you, but I got a couch. Are you interested in coming into my world? If you are, sure, my door is open, right? But a lot of times we go, oh, I can't have you in my world. You're not welcome in my world. And one, it doesn't give people the opportunity to love us. Two, it feels isolating for them. And then we fear, oh, if they come in, I'm going to lose this connection. right? If they come in and see me isolated, I'm going to lose the connection. What's true is if they come in and see you isolated and they choose to create a little world with you where the whole world is out there and you guys are together in that isolation, it's not isolation to hide, it's isolation to connect. So the way that I equated this to him was it's the difference between two people saying, hey, let's go in the cave for 8 days and have sex and love each other and just get to know each other, look at each other's eyes. Let's choose to do that, right? Let's choose to create this little world in a cave versus, oh my God, the big bad world is out there. We have to run in this cave together. And then we end up hating each other because the resentment is there that we're in this cave, we don't know how to get out, and we're complacent and miserable because we allow ourselves to be here. The difference between isolating to connect and isolating to hide is subtle. And you have to make that distinction. And hiding is okay too, but if you're wanting to isolate to connect, you have to be willing to understand that you're isolating so you can connect to yourself. And then you have to be willing, even though you want to hide because you feel like you have nothing to offer when you're isolating in that way, you have to be willing to allow people that you want to connect with to come into you while you're connecting with yourself in a way that looks like isolation. Okay? Even though it's like, oh, I don't have anything to offer, I can't entertain you, I don't know who to be while I'm like this. We have to give people ample opportunities to see all of us. And that is how we know we're in real relationships, and that's how we know real connection, and that is called integration. It's not just showing up when in parts of our fragmented self when we're all good, or we have something to offer, or we have to show up. It's showing up, inviting people into our world when our world is the only thing that we can even comprehend being in because we feel so overwhelmed by the outside world. We're allowed to isolate, and we're allowed to invite people into the world while we isolate. It's not bad or wrong to do that. Every guru on the planet closes their eyes and meditates to go into that place of themselves that could be perceived as isolation, but it's their way of connection. Okay, so let's rewrite the idea that isolation means we're disconnected, because I know a lot of people who isolate, and I am one of those people, and I don't isolate because I'm disconnected. I isolate because I want to stay connected, and I know that that is a way in which I do it. Got it? Okay, guys, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.